Next up in our series on 52 Licks is going to be Billy Higgins. Billy Higgins is one of the tastiest drummers I've ever heard, and great, and also kind of unsung, in my opinion. Does not get nearly the amount of respect that he deserves. I mean, he gets plenty because he's amazing, but when you think of the top 10, 20, maybe even 30 jazz drummers, I think in my opinion, he should be higher up on that list. And to give you a little insight into that, he was one of the first drummers Coltrane considered for his classic quartet before eventually deciding on Elvin. And although clearly Elvin wasn't a bad choice, the fact that Billy was one of the first ones that came to John Coltrane's mind should tell you the level of musician that Billy Higgins is. So let's discuss the lick. The lick comes from a Cedar Walton trio album. Billy played in Cedar's trio for a while. They did a couple of volumes of some live recording. It was just called The Trio. So it's Cedar Walton, The Trio. This is from Volume 1, and it's from Satin Doll. It's toward the end of the tune where Cedar kind of goes into the regular shout chorus. And at the 4:23 mark, Billy plays this phrase: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So rhythmically, it's just 1 and 3, 4 and. Super tasty. I've heard a bunch of other drummers use this as well, but Billy loved it, and I've heard Billy use it a bunch. I kind of associate that little lick with him. So let's break down the sticking, and also I'm going to show you some other applications for it. So the right hand plays the entire time. 1 and 3, 4 and. 1 and 3, 4 and. The left hand buzzes on every other stroke. 1 and 3, 4. And then in this particular instance, Billy ends with a stick shot. You don't always have to end with a stick shot, but I think it sounds great when he does it. The phrase itself, like I said, is fairly simple. Now, what you can do, what I've heard Billy do, is that you can stretch that phrase, right? You don't have to play it rhythmically so accurate. In other words, you can play it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Which I think sounds great, but try stretching out a little bit. I'll hear Billy like lay back a little on that buzz. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. You hear how we can kind of stretch that out a little bit. That allows it's one of the few chances that drummers actually get to play the blues on the drums, where we actually get to stretch something. Vocalists and horn players get to bend and slide into pitches and kind of get in between the cracks of the pitches, and to me that's a great little way to basically get that same effect on the drums. Now, I'm playing it and where the right hand plays the whole time. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can alternate. 2, 3, 4, right, left, right, left. I also have heard it where you buzz the right hand, where you buzz them together, right? 2, 3, 4. There's tiny little variations, in my opinion, matter in terms of how fast it is. If it's a fast tempo, maybe this is too heavy. 2, 3, 4. Maybe that's the exact sound you're going for, something that is a little heavier or a little more forced or has more tension. This is, if you just alternate it, that's probably the cleanest version. 2, 3, 4. If I'm playing it nice and slow, I'm going to really stretch it out. 2, 3, 4. So try all those little sticking variations and realize that I don't think there's a right one. All of them have a slightly different musical application. If you've practiced them all, when the time comes and you want to use this lick, it'll be fairly easy for you to grab them. A couple other things. Another thing I like to do that I've heard drummers do is to move the right hand. When I'm buzzing in the left, I'm going to make it kind of like an open flam, and I'm going to move the right hand to another drum, like the floor tom. 2, 3, 4. Or the cymbal. 2, 3, 4. And you hear that I'm trying to play a pretty open flam. And not something really tight. Although tight works as well. 2, 3, 4. See all the little applications just from that one little phrase from Billy. So, and then the last thing is make sure that buzz is nice and open. And for me to achieve that, I'm really thinking about just that downstroke with the wrist, and I'm just holding on with the fulcrum. I've moved my fingers out of the way. And then I can adjust that by squeezing. I can squeeze tight, or nice and open, or somewhere in the middle. So experiment with that as well. One simple phrase, 1 and 3, 4 and. We're adding that buzz every other stroke, and then all the little ways that you can vary it. Move the right stick to other sources. Open up that flam. Buzz with both hands, buzz with only one hand, and then rhythmically stretch it and tighten it up depending on the setting. Lots of different uses for one great phrase.